Hey everybody, Tara Green here, talking about the Virgo new moon, September 14th, 9:40 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time. This chart is set for Washington, D.C., so the ascendant here at 18 degrees of Taurus, actually, with the descendant at 18 degrees of Scorpio is really interesting because that is considered to be the most malefic degree in the zodiac. Now, again, this is only true for Washington, D.C., but the interesting thing is here, the midheaven is at 29 degrees of Capricorn with Pluto right at the top of it. This is a pretty serious degree here because, Pluto's at the very last degrees. It's at 28, virtually 29, right on the midheaven. That's a big world-changing event upcoming from this Virgo new moon. Now, the sun and the moon down here at 21 degrees plus Virgo, opposite Neptune at 26 degrees Pisces. So it's kind of a practical but dreamy new moon. All new moons are time for new intention setting. So it is the dark of the moon. It's the most feminine moon. So as the moon disappears for 3 days, traditionally women would go within. They were usually bleeding in concert with the new moon. They would go into their yurts or their moon lodges or their caves or whatever magical red tent spaces they had and bleed into the earth and dream together. And, dream together collectively to come back after their 3 days of rest and renewal and expressing their creativity and their solidarity and their sisterhood to come back and to step into their normal lives again. So if you can take time at all off during the new moon, it's a really good thing to do. Go within. It's very internal. It's inward for masculine, feminine, whatever gender you have. Everybody has both on the spectrum, and use this to analyze your dreams. Virgo is the sign of analysis, of intellectual knowledge. It's the sign of organization, and so you want to use this time. I know that Mercury, the planet that rules Virgo, is retrograde. Mercury is very strong right now. It's stationary. It's at its retrograde turnaround degree. So Mercury will be actually stationary direct on the next day, on the 15th at 4:21 p.m. And so we're still in a kind of a deep review, reflection, analysis, going over things, thinking about our health, thinking about our jobs, thinking about our communities, our pets, thinking about how much we worry so much, thinking about how much we project onto other people, still reevaluating, even though Venus is now stationed direct, still reevaluating what we went through then. So, again, it's a good time to change your diet up, to eat more highly vibrating foods, to watch what you eat, to watch how your mind and your emotional state, work together. So it's a good time to clean out. Again, we're a week away, almost a week away plus, till the spring equinox, which happens a bit late this year on the 22nd. The sun enters Libra at 11:50 p.m. That's Pacific Daylight Time, and on the 23rd at 2:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So you want to think about, so last week of summer in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm very sad to say goodbye to it. Our gardens are starting to slow down. We're starting to, gather the nuts like the squirrels watch the birds. I heard a bunch of geese flying overhead today. Watch how much the squirrels are preparing for winter. We need to take our cues from nature as well. Virgo is a natural sign. So what else is going on here? There's a nice Jupiter, Venus, Juno square approaching. That one is actually accurate on the 16th, 11:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, on the 17th at 2:10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So it's a nice beneficial aspect because these two are considered to be beneficial planets. So Venus in Leo rules our heart. She's the Queen of Hearts. She is connected to Juno, my favorite goddess, who I'm writing a book about, the feminine form of genius, squaring Jupiter over here, retrograde at 15 Taurus. Still conjunct Uranus. But basically that Venus-Jupiter square is what we're going to talk about, how they're working together. So anybody who has planets at those 15 degrees, traditionally the strongest of Leo and Taurus and Aquarius and Scorpio, will get the most bang for their bucks here, although everybody gets a benefit from it. But look at, if you have any planets at 15 degrees of earth or fire, you're going to get special beneficial aspects from that. Now, Chiron at 18 degrees of Aries retrograde opposite Mars in Libra. So there could be more fights about who has the balance, who's doing what in relationships. Again, sexual politics has come up again because of the Ken and Barbie movie. Notice I said Ken first. And then Ceres, the great mother here, very important as well, at 29 degrees of Libra. Planets at 0 degrees or asteroids at 0 degrees. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Or the last degree, the 28th, 29th degree, are the most powerful. So here's Ceres, or Demeter in Greek mythology, the great mother at the last degree of Libra, squaring Pluto. So again, issues about balance, justice. Pluto in Capricorn is going to be really heavy until it re-enters Aquarius, and it will do so again in 2024. Now, Ceres, the great first woman, 27 degrees of Leo there, is in conjunct Pluto, and Ceres there at 29 Libra is sextiling Lilith there, and they are both in conjunct Neptune. So again, these two great archetypes of the mother, Western civilization, the patriarchy, has separated the mother of the all, making her the all unconditional, loving, perfect mother, and Lilith the whore. She was actually the first woman, Lilith, the first archetype. She's the independent, strong-willed. She's a matriarch. She wants equality and respect. So those issues also are going to be coming up in the unconscious, in the collective unconscious, which Neptune, really symbolizes along with Pluto. Now, the two of them are also in this long-term sextile, supportive sextile to each other. Again, latter degrees, Capricorn, Pisces. So it works the other way as well. They're also in conjuncting Lilith. So issues about women's empowerment, women honoring themselves, honoring their hearts, honoring their strength, Leo's strength. Now, at the 0 degrees, we have Vesta, the root word of investments. I love this asteroid goddess as well. Named my cat Vesta. At 0 degrees of Cancer, a world point. So the world points are the 0 degrees of all of the cardinal signs, which is Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. So Vesta, investing in our homes, in our food, in our families, in our emotional bodies, and what makes us feel emotionally safe at this new moon. Again, issues about water, very important to us. Cleanliness, the purity, where we're getting it, who has it, etc., etc. And then Athena, the goddess who the city of Athens, Greece, is named after. She's at 0 degrees of Libra. So these two goddess asteroids are squaring each other. Athena helps us to strategize more in our relationships. She is also opposing Neptune there. So that the difference between this ideal, this projection, this belief system, like I'm going to save them, whereas Athena in Libra is kind of cool-headed. I know Libra is the sign of marriage traditionally, but it's an air sign, and so it's detached. It's kind of thinking about, what I really want to communicate here. How am I going to find the balance, and kind of strategizing before you do anything, Whereas Mars in Libra, is weak right now, kind of holding us back from being too spontaneous. So I like this aspect of the two asteroids there at 0 degrees, Ceres at the last degree, squaring Pluto. Now, Ceres and Pluto, are involved in the myth of Persephone, because Pluto in myths is supposed to have raped Persephone, that Ceres' daughter, and taken her into the underground, which is a long-winded myth about explaining why there's summer and winter. In some earlier versions, Persephone goes willingly into the underground. In later version, she's raped, which is probably the more patriarchal version, because it's really about an initiation into sexuality. So we want to think about the mothers protecting their innocent daughters and sex trafficking and child trafficking and all that secret stuff that's going on that's still going to be coming out into light. I want to mention also that Pluto trine Uranus, this big beautiful Earth trine here between Pluto and Uranus and the Sun and the Moon. Very nice for all the Earth signs there. Very supportive, very grounding. So we can start to get a sense of what's really going on. I think it's been very difficult with all the planets moving retrograde, and there's also a lot of solar energy and lots of climate being manipulated, stuff going on, and my sense is that's some of that energy is getting heavier and more intense. There's been lots of solar flares as well, which is affecting a lot of people who are really, really sensitive. Okay, now, what else do we have to talk about here? I I think I've kind of talked about everything here. So, yeah, South Node conjunct Ceres. If you're babying someone in a relationship, if you're mothering them, no, that's out and gone. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at taratarot.com. Wishing you many blessings on this new moon.